I went to my last possible dinner at Here's to Looking at You just yesterday. And before I go into my experience, how everything was, I have a rant because we all know how hard it is for restaurants to thrive, especially past the 10-year mark. We all know how much restaurants need and require in order to operate successfully. But it feels like diners are like kind of tit for tat. They're on one side of a spectrum or the opposite side between complaining about $18 cocktails while simultaneously being devastated when their favorite restaurants close. And while I understand that we are people of multitudes and nuance, it gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves so much when people blindly criticize restaurants without having a single clue what it takes to be successful in the restaurant industry. It gets on my nerves when people just simply say, it's not worth it, when they don't even have a sense of what their own values are, let alone to criticize someone else's. So, rant over for now. But I just want to start by saying that because the closing of this monumental restaurant is a big freaking deal. Anyone that knows the owner, Lynn, knows that she is literally living and parked at the intersection of resilience and grace. She's always been a champion for the restaurant industry. She's always been someone who was more than generous with her time, with her resources through impossible times. During the pandemic, they got through that. They opened up All Day Baby, which recently also transitioned to a closure. And during the LA fires, she was one of the most vocal restaurant owners talking about ways to help, actually going out and making sure that her friends and community members had the things that they needed, despite, now we know, navigating a possible closure. So it just frustrates me when people just flood the comments or flood the internet with conversation about the devastation. And I get it, like a restaurant closure is sad, but it's not just sad because you don't get to have your favorite steak frite or your favorite cocktail. It's not just sad because people lost their jobs. It's just a really difficult decision to come to. It's a difficult decision. It's a difficult industry. And we, as the diners, we don't make it any easier on the restaurant owners. Like, think about the last time you personally knew someone who said, I'm going to open a restaurant. How supportive were you of that goal or dream? Think about your favorite places to dine right now. When was the last time you went? And I get it. In this economy, I get it. But at the same time, that restaurant was full last night, and they've been full for the past couple of weeks. I just feel like restaurants deserve more than a last-minute rush before they close their doors forever. Restaurateurs are not just entrepreneurs. They're not like the other girls. They have to jump through way more hoops. They usually have to raise a lot more money just to get the doors open. And when they're extremely successful, the margins are still paper thin. On top of that, having to turn around and smile at your face, having to be grateful that you're here, even when you're not being so kind, even when you're not being super patient. Do you know how difficult that is? Do you have any idea how insane it is that anyone would open a restaurant? And so when they do it, and it's being done with grace, with amazing food, amazing drinks, a great staff, a beautiful space, when they're literally carrying the culture and making it worthwhile to visit a neighborhood, live nearby, and just be in a particular city or whatever the case may be, I just feel like that deserves a lot more credit than we're really giving it. Restaurateurs are unbelievably daring, unbelievably resilient, And even when some of them don't last forever, we have to look at their endeavors as a success. Because at the end of the day, especially when you look at this restaurant, they had a 10-year run and it was a great run. They navigated hardship after hardship, loss, transitions, and the ups and downs of what's going on politically. One thing about Lynn especially, she's never shied away from policies that were going to help restaurants keep their doors open. Like during COVID, when dining had to be outside and they wanted to take that patio space away, she was the first one championing the bill to keep the patio space open. She was the first one really talking about that. And she, along with like almost like a dozen other female restaurant owners, they went and opened Regarding Her. And Regarding Her has literally given grants and resources to women-owned restaurants, which is huge because on top of all of that difficulty I just mentioned, imagine being a woman. Imagine being a woman of color, having to navigate all of that. It's not easy. And we're still just talking about food here. We're talking about food. Something so simple. But as soon as you attach it to the model of a business, a brick and mortar, and a set of hours for us to come in, it gets exceedingly complicated. And so I think when restaurants close, what they need more than anything is grace. What they need is our support when they open, while they're going, and when they decide to close. Businesses don't last forever, and I almost view it as the same way that I view flowers. I heard this amazing quote about flowers, and I think the same is true about restaurants. They are here to remind us to be present in the moment because they're not going to last forever, but they remind us that we can pause right now and enjoy what's right in front of us right now. It's not about holding on with the tightest of grips, but just remembering that beautiful things can come and they can go, but we'll always have that memory and always have that association. And that's how I choose to see it. And I know that no matter what happens next, everyone there is incredibly brilliant. All of the chefs, the cooks, the staff, the bartenders, the servers. I think one of them won an Emmy or got nominated for an Emmy. Just like talented, good people, they will land on their feet. And Lynn being able to create what she's created and made the contribution to the city, to this community that she has, both in and out of the restaurant. I mean, I don't think there's words to really express the impact. So I'm looking forward to whatever she does next. Of course, I'm sad to see Here's to Looking at You close their doors, but the wiser version of me knows that whatever she does next is going to be brilliant. Even if it's running off to Portugal and saying, I'm done, we're going on a 2-year sabbatical, I support that. I see it. I'm here for the vision. But I'm glad that I got to experience this restaurant one last time, and I don't think I'll ever forget it.